What began as one of the most talked about relationships on 90 Day Fiancé quickly turned into something much darker.
I can't accept your apologies. Why? Why? Because you always hurt me and you embarrass me. You up and come, you embarrass me.
Big Ed arrived in the Philippines as a man searching for love. At least that was the story viewers were first given. He was older, lonely, and insecure, and hoping that a young woman named Rose would finally give him the relationship he had been missing for years.
You be beauty, I'll be the beast.
But as the cameras followed him deeper into Rose's world, the story began to change.
I asked Rose to take an STD test, and it's so frustrating because I don't think she understands why I need to know that.
The gifts, the promises, the apologies, and the emotional speeches slowly gave way to uncomfortable questions, public humiliation, and moments that left millions of viewers angry. But the controversy did not end in the Philippines. After the show, Big Ed became famous. Then, as his fame grew, old allegations began to surface, including claims from someone who said her own experience with him had left lasting damage. So this is a story of Big Ed and Rose, and also a story of how reality TV turned a deeply troubling pattern into entertainment, and how the people hurt along the way were left to pick up the pieces. As the saying goes, no matter how short you are, you can always see the sky. Despite being short, Big Ed, whose real name is Edward Allen Brown, would still find it difficult to do so because of his short neck disability. At a height of 150 centimeters or around 4 feet tall, Big Ed had Klippelfehl syndrome, a condition in which some of the neck vertebrae are fused. Someone with Big Ed's disability would definitely attract pity from those who love him, and bullying from those who don't care. Most of his early life and experiences were unknown to the public until around 2020, when he humiliated his Philippine girlfriend Rose on a reality TV show.
Up and come, you embarrass me. I accept you are always embarrass me because I love you, but you're always a liar.
This is a story of love, betrayal, manipulation, and selfishness that made even the strong cry. This is the story of the reality TV show 90 Day Fiancé. The season that featured Big Ed and Rose aired from February 2020 until around June of the same year. But before looking at how badly Big Ed may have treated Rose, it is important to note that he was also dealing with his own mental struggles, which he later admitted publicly.
I've been in therapy for about 6 weeks, and I'm on my 8th session. My therapist is amazing.
Most people, for one reason or another, may need to see a therapist, and that is perfectly fine. But at this point in Big Ed's life, what exactly was he going through that made him feel he needed one?
I'm learning so much about myself, how I can be a better version of who I am. So you guys, we're so good at making up stuff about ourselves that's not true.
This does not really clear the air about why he was seeing a therapist, but in a later video, he spoke about what the therapist had asked him to do, and he could not stop talking about how amazing the therapist was.
Meeting with my therapist, Dana, she's awesome, and she encouraged me to really get on more of a structured routine. She wants me to start going to bed at the same time, waking up at the same time, going to the gym at the same time.
Ed took some of this advice to heart, as seen in the updates on his page, especially with the gym advice. Praising his therapist and talking about how amazing she was would not have been a problem. But then Big Ed did something that surprised almost everyone following his page.
This is Dr. Dana. She is my amazing therapist. I've been coming to see her for about 1.5 years. Yeah. And she is working on all my codependency issues.
So basically that was why he was seeing a therapist. According to Mental Health America, codependency it is an emotional and behavioral condition that affects an individual's ability to have a healthy, mutually satisfying relationship. It is also known as a relationship addiction. Because people with codependency often form or maintain relationships that are one-sided, this will make a lot of sense later when we go into the history, life, and fame of Big Ed. So, you can put it in the back of your mind. However, Big Ed did not stop there. He went on to advertise his therapist.
You guys, you're suffering, you have anxiety, you need help with a relationship. This person has all the answers, I promise.
The first question to ask is whether it is ethical for a therapist to be advertised by a client, or does the fact that she did not say a word put her in a position where she is not in the wrong? Some experts in the comments also found it weird, like this person. As a therapist myself, this really walks a fine line ethnically. Basically, she was stating that this is not really acceptable in most states in the United States. But from what I could find, one of the clearest red lines is an intimate relationship with clients. The issue with the video is that it may pose a risk, especially because the therapist may have some level of influence over the client and could potentially use that to her advantage. But how did this affect Big Ed? You will find out soon. For now, let's go back to where the fame started. Season 4 of 90 Day Fiancé. Before the 90 days started with Big Ed, who was a 54-year-old photographer at the time, on his way to meet the love of his life, Rose, in the Philippines. Big Ed's dog was also introduced in the scene. His name was Teddy, and Big Ed referred to him as his best friend. In the first episode of this season, Big Ed claimed that that he had once been married. The marriage only lasted for 2 years because he cheated on his wife and she left him. Big Ed framed it as if he were someone who had been unfortunate when it came to relationships and women.
My track record with relationships is not very good.
Big Ed also had a daughter from that marriage, named Tiffany. He remained single for a long time after his divorce, except for a few occasional flings that did not work out until he met Rose.
But when I met Rose, everything changed.
The only issue here was that Rose was just 23 years old at the time, while Big Ed was more than twice her age. What made it even worse was that his daughter, Tiffany, who was 29, was older than Rose. And within just 3 months of chatting with Rose, Big Ed claimed that he was in love.
I was like, wow, I'm in love. Rose is the woman of my dreams, and I can't wait anymore to meet her.
While in love, Big Ed would send a lot of gifts to Rose in the Philippines, from sheets to pillows to grills. He even claimed that the shipping fee for some of those items could cost more than the gifts themselves.
After about 4 weeks of Rose being my girlfriend, I started sending gifts every week. But on gifts and shipping, I've probably spent over $5,000. Actually, I've spent more in shipping than what I'm sending.
But spending around $5,000 in just 2 to 3 months of dating is crazy. That means he was spending around $1,500 to $2,000 per month. And of course, Big Ed got a lot of disapproval from his family and friends, who believed he was being scammed.
People that I've told about Rosemarie, they're very skeptical.
Maybe they were right, maybe they were not. But Big Ed framing his last marriage as some kind of traumatic event when he was the one who cheated on his wife was annoying. But for some reason, a woman hundreds of miles away was the one he wanted to go after. Some people saw it as him going for an easy target he could manipulate, while others assumed it was just a midlife crisis. In a subsequent episode, Big Ed declared that he would soon be on his way to meet Rose in the Philippines, and wanted to look nice for her. But since hair dye irritated his scalp, he opted to use mayonnaise instead.
I found out that mayonnaise makes it smoother and less dry.
It might sound nice that Big Ed was trying to look good and appear younger for Rose, as the date of his trip to the Philippines got closer. But his pursuit to impress Rose started on a terrible foundation, a foundation of lies. Big Ed admitted to keeping things from Rose in an attempt not to lose her. He lied about his height, about not wanting more children, and about other things too.
One is my height. I'm 4'11", not 5'2". There's another thing, and that is I don't want any more kids.
Big Ed was in his 50s at the time and already had one daughter. He was satisfied with what he had and was not ready to take care of children in his 60s and 70s, but he did not share this with Rose. Big Ed kept this to himself until he traveled to the Philippines, just days after making this public, and Rose was there to welcome him. It was all romantic and lovely, but unknown to Big Ed. Calamity was just around the corner. Right there at the airport, Rose was shocked by what she saw in Big Ed, probably because he looked different from what she had imagined.
What?
Big Ed basically catfished Rose. Right there at the airport, she told him she thought he would be taller than her. That small laugh at the end was one of disappointment, although at that point she was already deep into it and had to continue with Big Ed regardless, something many viewers noticed and commented on. The experience in the Philippines only got worse with time for Big Ed. It started with where they were staying. Big Ed claimed the place was terrible, and just as he and Rose were about to settle in, her father walked in. Clearly Big Ed was not comfortable with the arrangement, but her father later explained that he did it to ensure that Big Ed respected his daughter. Beyond that, Big Ed also complained about Rose's room, which leaked whenever it rained. And he also complained about Rose's mattress being too small, saying it was basically equivalent to sleeping on the floor. Big Ed said that he had a skin condition that did not allow him to sleep on that kind of mattress, or on sheets that did not have at least 1,000 thread count.
But I have a skin condition called atopic dermatitis, so I can only sleep with sheets that have at least 1,000 thread count.
This condition basically causes rashes all over the body when it's triggered. However, it was only getting worse for Big Ed, as immediately he tried to rest, the power went out, and his reaction was priceless.
Oh,
There with the electricity.
You gotta be relaxed. It's okay, don't panic.
All Big Ed did throughout his time in the Philippines was complain and complain about one thing or another. That night, Ed decided he would not be staying there the next day, but he was still expected to take a shower in the morning.
Rose.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, I dropped the soap. Thank you.
That was how he showered that morning, and while on his way out, he noticed a rat also taking a shower with them. Big Ed decided to book a hotel just to escape all the horror he had seen on his first day at Rose's place. He had nothing but a terrible review of that night.
Yesterday I arrived at Rose's house, and I spent the night, and it was perhaps the worst night of my life.
Big Ed eventually asked her father if he could go on a trip with Rose after the terrible night at her place. He agreed, but asked for only one thing.
Just,
Maayos.
I promise.
Okay.
I promise.
Okay.
Treat Rose well, he said. Big Ed didn't, or at least he thought he did, and the rest of his time in the Philippines only did more harm to his relationship with Rose than good, and that is every father's nightmare. While the condition of Rose's home was terrible, Big Ed had other reasons for wanting Rose to himself, but he remained skeptical about going further with her until he was certain about her past.
So I'm not planning on having with Rose until she takes an STD test.
She claimed that she was not ready or comfortable with intimacy just yet. Another issue for Big Ed was that he was starting to feel withdrawn because of money issues with Rose and her family.
I'm not comfortable with Rose grabbing my money because that's not what you do.
Big Ed had an issue with Rose taking money from his wallet when they went to get pajamas at the market. He also complained about Rose's sister, who had earlier contacted him for money to support her shop. It was all these frustrations that probably pushed Big Ed to summon the courage to say things to Rose that he should have probably kept to himself. It was really surprising for Big Ed to feel so comfortable telling his girlfriend to take an STD test. It made it seem like he was trying to back out, yet still wanted to be intimate with her first, while also needing to make sure she was safe. Rose's facial expression said it all. If he had said that they would do it together, it would have sounded a little better. In a later interview, Big Ed admitted to being wrong with his approach of asking Rose about the test.
I just took a test. I'm clean. Will you take a test? I screwed that up. I screwed it up. I take responsibility for that.
And obviously, Rose did not take Big Ed's STD test remarks well.
I'm disappointed.
Big Ed claimed that his request for an STD test was because Rose did not want to talk to him about her previous relationships. He was insisting on honesty, even though he was the one who had lied about his height. Even after Rose told Big Ed about the father of her child, he still wanted to know more.
And that was 4 years ago, right? Talk to me about what's happened in the last 4 years.
Rose slept in a separate hotel that night after being hurt by what Big Ed had said. The next morning, he invited Rose to a cafe to apologize.
And I will always trust you, and I'll always love you.
Rose forgave Big Ed for what he said the previous night, but that was a mistake, only if she had known what was to come in the following days. And that morning, after apologizing and saying that he would never say anything to hurt Rose, he came up with another complaint. Not only that, when Big Ed and Rose went to meet her family at her sister's shop later that day, he had plenty of complaints to put forward.
Where are the windows?
Big windows.
That's not a window. Okay, that's okay.
He even went as far as asking if there were rodents in the area.
No flying, bats or cockroaches.
It was unfair that Big Ed would always judge the situation, even though he knew that was to be expected given their circumstances. Someone said, "It breaks my heart how Rose's family gave him a warm welcome to their home and wanted to surprise him, but he just started judging them in their house." This is what was referring to.
I expected it to be, pretty bad, but this is really bad.
Big Ed and Rose decided to go on a vacation into the island of Palawan in the Philippines, and it was during this time that a lot of really frustrating things happened. First was when Big Ed decided to introduce Rose to lingerie. Rose tried to play it cool and not feel too offended by what Big Ed was doing. This may have made him think everything was fine, and that it was the right time to bring an even more intimidating gift.
So this is mouthwash, and I got you a cute toothbrush.
Big Ed thought it was a good idea to mention to his girlfriend that he didn't like how her mouth smelled and that he wanted to help her with it. He could have left it at that, but he went on to talk about her breath as well.
Just your breath is not pretty.
According to Big Ed, these items were all gifts to Rose from his heart, but it felt more like a gift to himself. Rose did not appreciate the gesture or his approach and felt embarrassed by it.
I love you. I love you.
Pangit mo.
I love you.
Pangit mo.
And Big Ed thought she said, "I love you," back in her language. Later that night, Big Ed confronted Rose, asking her if she knew about what her sister had done by asking him for money. He became increasingly skeptical of Rose's intentions, insinuating that she was with him for money, which she denied. The conversation was hurtful for Rose, as she discovered that her sister had done such a thing, and she said she would talk to her sister about it to hear her side of the story. It would have been better if Big Ed had discussed this before coming to see Rose in the Philippines, since it happened before he traveled. The same goes for his secret about not wanting more kids. But why lie?
I didn't tell her sooner because I didn't want to lose her.
It was at this point that one of the show's most clipped and popular snippets was made, when Rose commented on where they were.
I like the view.
You do?
Yes.
You're my best view.
Some of the most popular trends were on TikTok, where Big Ed and others would roleplay this particular situation.
I like the view.
You do?
Yes.
You're my best view.
I like the view.
You do?
Yes.
You're my best views. What?
Right after this, Big Ed brought up the conversation about wanting a vasectomy, saying that he had booked 2 appointments before coming to the Philippines. Rose didn't want to believe that he was completely serious about what he was saying. She even suggested giving him time to think about his decision. Big Ed was adamant about his decision, and Rose said she needed to process everything he had said.
I don't want any more kids. And when I woke up this morning, she was gone.
One would ask why it turned out this way. According to Big Ed, he claimed that his coming to see Rose was more of an examination to assess Rose, and not for her to assess him.
I thought she wants to marry me, you know. So it was really more about me trying to figure out for myself, was Rose the one that I wanted?
Ed later met with Rose during the day, and she decided that she needed to be away from him. It was unfair because Big Ed had always been the one pressing to know everything about Rose, yet he was the one with the biggest secrets. Big Ed's excuse was that he did not want to rush things and wanted the two of them to get to know each other well before he revealed such information about himself. And this is how Rose responded.
I wanted you to see who I am.
I know who you are.
Despite the language barrier, Rose tried to tell Big Ed why he was the manipulative one, mentioning the height lie, the accusation of working with her sister for money, and more, before she finally said something that Big Ed claimed he did not expect.
You give me feel a little bit pressure. I think you not love me. I'm done.
And this was the end of it. To make matters even worse, Big Ed said that her response was not something said out of fairness, and he was amazed that she would feel that way about him.
This is a bit of a shock to me. I'm very shocked. I didn't expect this.
When Rose was later asked how she felt about the breakup, she said she was more hurt that Ed did not accept his mistakes or take responsibility for his behavior. After all the chaos, Big Ed returned home and met with his daughter, who had not been in support of the relationship from the start.
You're old enough to be your dad, and I was just like, what are you doing? 23?
Big Ed claimed to feel hurt by what happened in the Philippines. He received a lot of backlash on social media for how he treated Rose. Big Ed even made fun of his time in the Philippines on his page.
I had a dream that I was on a reality show, and I flew to the Philippines to marry somebody.
Big Ed later posted a video expressing how terrible he felt about the outcome of the show.
I'll most likely fall on my face like I did in the Philippines, but when you fall down, you just have to get back up. That's what it's about.
Since Big Ed did not really care much about the negativity, he still spoke openly about the outcome of the TV show.
And I actually found out I don't have an STD, okay? And I'm actually an inch and a half taller than I thought I was.
And in a later virtual interview, where both of them were invited, one could clearly see the tension between them. One of the first issues that remained unsettled between the two was who messaged first after the breakup in the Philippines.
Rosemary reached out to me.
Rose, is that true?
No.
Big Ed claimed that Rose reached out to him so that they could resume their relationship from where they had stopped, and that he was ready to leave everything he was doing to go see her again. But Big Ed said something stopped him.
But then I go on your Facebook, and I see a picture of you holding a watch. This is you and your girlfriend.
Big Ed is saying that after he left the Philippines, Rose started a relationship with another girl there. When Rose was asked to confirm if this was true, she said,
For now, no. Before, after the break, Ed.
After confirming that Rose was bisexual, Big Ed said that she reached out to him after she broke up with her ex-girlfriend. Rose, on the other hand, claimed that Big Ed was the one who reached out to her and wanted a second chance.
Yeah, Rose was saying that actually Ed wanted to get back together and that he was asking for a second chance.
The host later brought in Big Ed's daughter and asked if she had any questions for Rose, as this was the first time they were speaking to each other. She then asked Rose if she loved her father.
Yes, I really love your dad. I really
Don't get a tone with me, please. I'm just asking you a general question. Did you have true feelings for him?
Yes, of course, yes.
It was understandable that Tiffany was upset with Rose, as she felt Rose wanted to take her father away from her, but that approach was not necessary, because that was simply the way Rose usually spoke. It was not about giving Tiffany attitude or anything like that, and that annoyed Rose.
Kasi ang hirap kasi ngayon nagsisinungaling siya na nagsisinungaling para itago sa sarili niya na alam mo yun, hindi makita ng ibang tao yung ugali niya. Ako ma'am, tiniis ko lahat yun eh. Kahit napakasama ng ugali niyan eh. Nasa likod o harap ng camera sa akin, tiniis ko yan eh.
Tiffany didn't understand what Rose was saying, but she could clearly see that she had upset her. And how did Tiffany react?
Oh, I hit a nerve.
Okay, I can tell Rose is very upset.
Tiffany was being dismissive of Rose's feelings and was probably glad that she had managed to rile her up to the point where she was crying. She also defended her father's lie, saying that Rose knew he was short before he came to the Philippines.
Which I'm not quite sure how you can hide that, considering you guys would video chat and Skype.
When Rose responded, she said that the reason she did not talk much about her past was that she did not care much about Big Ed's past either. She eventually claimed that at one point, Big Ed had asked her for a video call, which he denied, but his facial expression suggested he might not have been telling the truth.
It's like, what? Please. I'm saying it's a lie. It's just a lie. Oh my God. It's a lie.
Another thing you will notice is that Tiffany, his daughter, remained silent throughout the confrontation. She knows her father more than anyone else on the call, and she could probably tell from the way he was responding to Rose.
Oh my God. How do you make this up? How do you come up with these ideas? Are you kidding me?
No, you're a liar. Always you're a liar.
Don't start making up stuff. That's ridiculous. Come on.
Since Big Ed did not want to admit to doing that, the host went on to ask why he had asked Rose about the hair on her leg the way he did. He apologized for it, but Rose declined the apology.
I can't accept your apology. Why? Why? Because you always hurt me, and you're up cam, you embarrass me. You're up and come, you embarrass me. I accept you are always embarrassing me because I love you, but you're always a liar.
I don't blame Rose for not accepting his apology. He traumatized the poor lady. Most of those commenting on the video were on Rose's side, sympathizing with her. One of the guests on the call asked Big Ed why he had to lie to Rose after claiming that he had asked for the STD test because she was not honest about her past, and this is how he responded.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I lied about my height. 3 inches on my height. Okay, whatever.
Big Ed tried to dismiss the fact that he lied about his height, saying that he only added 3 inches, so it was not a big deal. She went further to press him on why he also lied about not wanting kids.
And why didn't you tell her before you even went there that you didn't want kids? You knew she wanted that. Like, doesn't add up.
I'll tell you what. That was hindsight's wrong. I didn't want kids.
At least he admitted that he was wrong for doing that, but his excuse was not good enough. He claimed that raising kids can be expensive, and that was his only reason. He then got annoyed when she told him that he was the one worried about money, not Rose.
I think the problem was you were worried about the money. Not her.
Okay, you know what? Hey, don't point your finger at me. Hey, don't point your finger at me.
To wrap it all up, towards the end of the interview, Big Ed claimed that he now knew for sure that all Rose wanted was to come to the United States with him, and that she would have left him afterward.
I'm convinced in my heart, I'm sorry, that she wanted to come here, that she never really loved me. She never did.
That's true.
After the show aired and was put out to the public, a petition was created to remove Big Ed from the 90-Day Fiancé franchise because of the way he treated Rose. One petition, created in June 2020, had about 3,000 signatures. Another one was created about 2 weeks earlier than that petition and was published around the end of May 2020. It gained far more support, with around 49,000 signatures to date. Some of the points they made in this popular petition included accusing him of choosing a younger target he could manipulate, describing his trip to the Philippines as tourism, and criticizing his misogynistic behavior toward Rose. Also, not long after the show, Big Ed was accused of creating a new Twitter account to praise himself while painting Rose as the bad guy. The page has now been deactivated, possibly because the accusations were true. When he was challenged, he changed the Twitter handle, thinking people would not notice. The account may have been deactivated, but screenshots of some of its posts were shared on Instagram and across the internet. But after a while, even the person's Instagram account was made private, allowing only followers to view the posts and keeping outsiders from seeing them. Eventually, Big Ed, or the person using the account, permanently deactivated the Instagram page. One of the posts claimed that all Rose wanted was to use Big Ed to enter the United States, and getting pregnant for Big Ed was part of her plan to secure citizenship. Now all these Karens are defending Rose just because she's a girl. Those girls saying you essayed them after you became famous is a typical thing girls do for fame. What girl and accusation was he referring to in the post? In April 2020, after the chaos surrounding Big Ed and Rose, a former co-worker of Big Ed came forward to accuse him of misconduct. The alleged victim, named Lorelei Clemens, first posted the allegations on TikTok, where she described him as a predator. In a subsequent video, she posted captions exposing the insensitive questions she was asked about the matter. In another TikTok video, because some viewers did not know who Big Ed was, Lorelei posted a video of him, accusing him of acting as if his past sins had been forgiven. Some people demanded that she show something that proved Big Ed was responsible for what she was accusing him of, with one person saying, "The only way I could fully believe this is if there's some sort of proof." Many others were very upset by the fact that people were not being kind or open-minded towards someone bold enough to come out and expose an alleged abuser, with one person claiming that she did not even need proof, and another person claimed that the working conditions might not have allowed her to obtain proof of what was done to her. She was eventually brought in for an interview with the Without a Crystal Ball channel, where she shed more light on the matter. Lorelei claimed that on her first day at work, Big Ed physically her under the pretense of being funny or cool. From then on, Lorelei claimed that the treatment only got worse and worse daily.
And it just continued to get worse from there on a daily basis. It was at least...
Lorelei said that most of what Big Ed did to her back then was because at first she did not fully understand the impact of what he was doing to her. But some people were skeptical because she was 24 at the time, and they were asking if it was possible to be an adult, which is wrong.
You understand the process of nice and then mistreatment, right? So, or the promises of something good happening and then the misuse.
That description was similar to what happened with Rose on the show. A show of love, compliments, and appreciation, followed almost immediately by something hurtful. That is the idea of using a power dynamic for control. And that is exactly what Lorelai claimed Big Ed did to her.
So it's like he found your vulnerability and he was testing how far he could go. And
100%.
when you aren't fighting back, he keeps testing how much further and further and further he can take it.
Lorelai claimed that her case was a little different from many others, as she came from a very abusive household and never really learned how to defend herself in such a situation. She said she wished she had been warned.
I wish someone would have told me that when I was 24 and going through this, that what is happening is not normal and it's not okay.
Yeah.
When you look at Rose's situation with Big Ed, you can see that he kept pushing and pushing, doing more and more terrible things while testing how far he could go, until Rose finally said no more. This was why Big Ed was hurt. He did not expect Rose to push back. Lorelai, on the other hand, was not bold enough to say no to Big Ed the way Rose did, so it led to a terrible end for Lorelai, where she was eventually hospitalized. But it started with Big Ed being very friendly.
Ed often promised, information or like mentorship after work. Let's go grab a bite to eat.
This subtle appreciation and attention that Big Ed gave to a young intern like Lorelai eventually led to a one-night tragedy.
The last thing I remember is Ed and coming to hours later and not knowing how I got where I was. I was in different clothing.
Lorelai went to the hospital after the incident because she was not feeling very well. She informed her then boyfriend, and they went there together. So when she confronted Big Ed about what had happened, she said he did not try to hide what he had done. Lorelai eventually took matters into her own hands and reported Big Ed's alleged misconduct to the company they worked for. But before making that decision, she first started going to therapy.
Kind of ended ugly between the company and myself and obviously Ed, because what he was doing was wrong.
The company they worked for eventually tried to settle the whole thing after Lorelai decided she was going to file a lawsuit against them. The settlement probably came because they did not want the bad PR that would come with it. An NDA was signed after the settlement, and Lorelai left the company.
And was he not fired? Wow.
Many would ask why Lorelai did not try to get justice for herself, instead of settling and signing an NDA with the company. First, there is the discrimination that comes with it. Second, there is the fact that she might not get justice from the system because only a few cases like this are prosecuted or led to jail time. So for someone who allegedly went through this to see her alleged abuser on TV, seemingly doing the same thing, must have been a lot to handle. Going back in the past, when the show with Big Ed and Rose aired in February 2020, it ran for about 3 months. Around the end of the show, with his newfound fame, Big Ed decided to start taking social media seriously. His first target was TikTok. It has about 1.5 million followers as of today. Big Ed was getting hundreds and thousands of views on his page. His content was basic, and he provided absolutely no value. He was simply riding on the fame of the TV show. One of his videos was a cameo video. In these videos, all he did was play music, dance, and make a fool of himself in front of the camera. Big Ed also took on an activist role during this time, speaking out against bullies and online abuse from trolls.
Stop it. It's not funny. You're not making people's days. You're not, it's just ridiculous. So stop it. Stop it now.
The hypocrisy was in the way he spoke about it. People had watched Big Ed for the past few weeks in the Philippines, seeing him as some sort of bully who used his advantage over Rosie to manipulate her. So for him to come out posing as an advocate was laughable. His fight also extended to racism. During the 2020 George Floyd protests, Big Ed also lent his voice in support of the movement, criticizing the racist establishment for treating people of color unfairly. Big Ed said that his closest black American friend would constantly face racism whenever they went out to eat, and he did not even realize it was racism until later.
The waitress would come over and take our order, and they would always skip him. And I never realized it until now, what's happening.
Big Ed also wrote out a message about this tragic incident and read it to his fans as if it were an official statement. Big Ed also claimed that he was raising money for the NAACP through his cameo to support empowerment programs for the human rights group. Big Ed noticed that the comments from his previous posts had not been particularly favorable, so he switched off the comment section for this one, probably because people would question whether the money would truly be redirected to the organization. While this fight was for a just cause, it still did not go well for Big Ed, and that was the last time he ever mentioned fighting against bullies or racism on his page. He then moved on to try the mukbang niche on TikTok. For most of 2020, Big Ed enjoyed the fame that came after the show, and he monetized it aggressively. Different brands came to him for adverts, and he delivered. One of them was a popular place he constantly posted on his page. About a year after the TLC show with Rose, Big Ed posted a picture on his page in preparation for another show on Discovery Plus titled 90 Day, The Single Life. Even 90 Day Fiancé, the page that hosted his first show, left a comment. While the show on Discovery Plus was still airing, Big Ed was seen in Las Vegas posts around the end of March 2021, taking pictures with a lot of young ladies. The posts got some attention, and were later covered by Screen Rant, which claimed that many of his fans, or those who left comments on his post, portrayed him as some kind of sugar daddy. The same site also posted about how Big Ed partied all night with about 12 ladies in his home. This just shows how much Big Ed seemed to love being around much younger women. The show by Discovery Plus started airing in early 2021, with Big Ed now single after the trouble with Rose, and in a restaurant looking to approach Liz, an employee of the place.
But when are you gonna ask her?
I don't know. Will you ask her for me?
Ed!
Please.
Liz was a little reluctant initially, but she eventually agreed to go out on a date with Big Ed. The first date was surprisingly weird, especially with statements like this from Liz when she was asked what she thought the first time she saw Big Ed.
What did you think of me when you first met me, and be honest?
I thought you were a woman.
While Big Ed was being weird, laughing and smiling at almost anything Liz said, she said something Big Ed considered considerate about his height.
I wear flip-flops specifically.
Thank you.
To, like, height match you.
You're the best. Thank you. You're so considerate.
Overall, the first date was okay, though it had some weird moments. After the date, Liz called her Uber and left the scene, but the second date was disastrous.
After our first very emotional lunch date, Liz called me the next day and told me that she wants to go out on another date. I'm happy. I'm elated.
Liz probably would not have called if she had known what was waiting for her on the second date, because Big Ed had planned something called goat yoga. This was basically a yoga place where people posed for yoga while goats roamed around them. Even Liz felt it was a really uncomfortable yoga session.
It didn't really feel like yoga, only because I didn't really get to concentrate on my breathing. I was more nervous about a goat maybe in front of me or...
Big Ed later admitted that goat yoga was not really a good place for a date after realizing how uncomfortable the experience had been.
Goat yoga, probably not the best idea. As a date,
any right-thinking lady would have run after this. Liz was in her 20s, young enough to be his daughter. She had a daughter, a very time-consuming job, and a lot more going on in her life. So why would she want to continue with Big Ed?
It's kind of hard to think about somebody else outside of just my daughter, Riley.
The only reason would be because of the opportunity that came with the reality TV show. She would get paid for it, and she would also get exposure to the world. Big Ed eventually asked Liz to kiss him, and he claimed it was great, and eventually they made love all night, as Big Ed put it.
Okay, so, yeah, I mean, we made love all night. I never had anyone take over and make love to me in my life.
It became official between Big Ed and Liz. He even proposed, but like many relationships, especially with someone like him, something was bound to happen. This time, Big Ed claimed that he would rather sleep with Liz's friend instead of her at a Vegas party, and that led to a big fight.
You told me when you were drunk the other night that you would rather sleep with Alex than me.
Oh, and what did you tell me when you...
In retaliation, Liz claimed that Big Ed had a really tiny manhood, which hurt him deeply. When Liz asked why he would say such a thing to her, he said she was not the right one. Another pressure on Liz came from Tiffany, who had always had a problem with the younger women who dated her father, instead of having issues with her father himself. Liz overheard Tiffany saying things about her to her friends.
I heard Tiffany and the comments the friend was saying, giggling, chatting, can't you just find someone your age? I was sitting right next to her. It was very disrespectful.
Tiffany had never shied away from sharing her perspective or expressing her dissatisfaction with their relationship. Maybe it was because she was worried that she would have a mother-in-law she was older than. When Tiffany laid out the issue during her first meeting with Liz and her father, this is what Big Ed had to say about it.
But I was telling her that you guys are like the same.
I'm gonna say that weirds me out. That's just awkward as
Eventually, Big Ed and Liz met and discussed their relationship, then continued dating. They got back together again and pushed forward with their engagement plans.
It was on again, off again for about a year and a half prior to that. But now we're engaged, for real.
No more off and on.
But the issue with this was that most of Big Ed's family were not in support of the union because Liz had said some terrible things during their last breakup.
I've tried to reach out to my daughter, Tiffany, and at this moment, she's not taking my calls. And
on the other side, Liz's parents were somewhat skeptical about Big Ed's intentions, so they questioned him when they met. This was because of Liz's past bad relationships.
She just got out of one bad relationship, and now he's pushing her and pushing her. That's not good. I'm overly protective of her.
And Big Ed did not make matters any better when he made some annoying comments like this.
Kind of mischief.
Hey, we've been making love. I'm just kidding.
That was a very wrong thing to say in front of his future in-laws, but Big Ed has a big mouth. Still, that piece was only temporary because Big Ed caused another problem when he accused Liz of cheating on him with another woman, and also revealed that he had a curfew for when she should get home. This felt more like a father and daughter relationship than one between two grown adults. Ed and Liz broke up after this. But what really happened? Liz had a heated fight with another friend of hers, and the intensity of the fight made Big Ed question her instead of consoling her or calming her down. Instead of taking responsibility for what he had said to Liz, Big Ed simply blamed it on the situation.
I think that Liz is drunk, and she's not thinking. So I'm trying to call Liz. She's not picking up the phone. I'm worried about her safety.
I think the producer, or someone else, was able to get his phone to Liz so she could talk to Big Ed. But instead of apologizing for making such an insensitive statement, this was what Big Ed said.
You're ruining the entire evening for your mom, for your grandma. You are out of control. You're drunk.
Shut up.
Something's going on there. You don't want to tell me what's going on. That's fine. I'm telling you right now, Liz, until I know everything I need to know about you, I can't marry you. I'm going to be honest.
At every small issue, just like the last time when he claimed he had made the wrong choice by picking Liz, he threatened to withdraw from the wedding as a way to manipulate her. He was fully aware of what she had put into this and the sacrifices she had made so far. If he truly thought she was drunk, as he said, then having a serious conversation like this with someone he considered drunk was truly stupid and unreasonable. Big Ed could have waited until morning to talk. Liz explained his behavior generally this way.
One of our biggest issues in mine and Ed's relationship is Ed's very insecure with himself, and he gets so defensive and bossy, which can come off as controlling.
Apart from this, there was also the issue of respect. Liz claimed that Big Ed was always flirty with his clients whenever they came for photo shoots.
Okay, so here we go. Drop your head just a little bit more. Nice, beautiful, nice. It's a lot easier when your subject's beautiful.
Big Ed said this while Liz was there. And then there was the allegation that Big Ed might have been cheating on Liz after she caught him snooping on an Asian dating website, probably on the same platform where he met Rose. What was weird was that he seemed more worried about the fact that he had been spied on than about what he had actually done. Felt like Big Ed was already looking for an alternative after Liz. The host of the show then asked Big Ed if he had spoken to Rose lately.
So, Ed, have you spoken to your ex-fiancée, Rose?
No.
But one thing was confusing about his response. Big Ed did not seem very sure whether he had spoken to Rose recently.
But you don't remember if you have been in any kind of text conversation with her recently?
I may have. I don't remember.
You may. How are you not? It's a yes or no.
I don't know. I don't know if I was or not.
That was not very convincing. It seemed like he might have been in contact with Rose more recently than he wanted to admit. Unknown to Big Ed, the program already had Rose on the line, and when she was asked if she had been in conversation with Big Ed in the last month, she said,
"Yeah."
Big Ed looked disappointed, as if Rose had betrayed him and revealed something he expected her to keep to herself to save his face.
Ed always asking me for FaceTime.
And of course, just as you might have guessed, Big Ed denied ever speaking to Rose after she said all that.
So Ed said that he hasn't spoken to you at all, and then now he's saying he can't remember if he spoke to you.
I didn't.
That's not true.
When Big Ed denied ever speaking to Rose, but probably learned her lesson from what he did to her back then, had saved all her receipts for this day. In the text between them, Ed asked Rose, "I want to come to the Philippines again to see you if you're open." This was his facial reaction after the message was read out loud. When Liz went to confront Big Ed about his lie, he turned the whole thing into a joke.
Did you or did you not just say, "I have not spoken to her"?
Me no speak English.
What the? You know what? It's not something to joke about, Ed.
It is, because this is her. This is who Liz is.
How was Big Ed able to turn this around and put it on Liz when he had been caught red-handed? That level of gaslighting was something else. When Rose was asked if Big Ed would like to be with her, she said,
"She's saying he's interested, but he's in a relationship right now."
I don't think I have any more respect.
Let me have my ring back.
Oh.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Long story short, Liz and Ed did not end up marrying each other. He continued his single life without her and eventually focused more on TikTok. On rare occasions, we find Big Ed's mother on his TikTok page. He once introduced her and his dog Teddy to his fans. In another video, Big Ed joked about how his mother dropped him when he was just a baby. Unfortunately for Big Ed, he lost his dog, Teddy, to arthritis in August 2021, and he made a post on his TikTok page to update his fans on the tragedy. While it was a time to feel sorry for Big Ed and console him over his loss, class. One fan could not help but notice something in the video and carefully asked, "Looking down at a script?" The person probably expected Big Ed to speak from the heart and not look down at a script, but people process grief differently. Big Ed might have gone blank in a moment like that, not knowing what else to say, so maybe a script helped him cover all the points he wanted to mention. A few weeks after Teddy's passing, Big Ed replaced him with 2 active dogs. After this tragedy passed, Big Ed went back to business, and at this point, things were getting a little tight for him, so he resorted to monetizing his Cameo, asking his fans to pay for shoutouts, birthday wishes, and other personalized messages. Big Ed did not limit himself to Cameo. He also capitalized on Memo, where he promised fans a personalized video gift. By the end of 2021, his page views had gone down considerably because he was no longer providing much value. He was mostly posting adverts on his page, including things like Father's Day gifts. In a move to increase engagement on his page, he thought about personalizing his content more and sharing life updates with his fans. This prompted him to announce to his fans around mid-2022 that he would need an operation after falling and injuring his shoulder. After the checkup, he was also diagnosed with other health issues he did not even know existed. So, to have surgery for his injured body, he needed to be cleared first, and that required him to get his health back on track, especially when it came to his weight.
I have to get my together. I have to get my blood pressure down. I have to start eating right. I need to do basically a fast cleanse.
So basically, Big Ed thought this would be another journey that his viewers could follow him on.
And I want to take you guys along with my journey. And
it did not take very long before he abandoned the idea of sharing this journey with his fans. The attention and excitement around it started to fade, and Big Ed moved on to something else.
And they recommended fish, but I hate fish. You know, it's like, how can something be so expensive and smell and taste like...
He wanted his steaks back, I guess. But on a journey like this, it only feels genuine when you are truly committed to it, not when you complain at every point. And Big Ed made it seem more like a promo when he told his viewers to follow him.
If you're having health issues, follow me, you guys. This is the real thing.
His constant complaints were not helping either. Big Ed also posted gym videos, taking his viewers along on the journey. In the weeks that followed, he completely stopped posting health or gym-related videos, as they were not helping at all. Instead, he focused more on selling his personalized videos on Cameo and showing more of his dogs. Big Ed also tried his hand at gaming. He streamed on Twitch, but that did not give him the success he wanted either. Eventually, he went for something more extreme and decided it was time to get a tattoo. Of all the parts of his body where he could have gotten one, he decided the best place was his chest. Some days later, when he wanted to give an update on the tattoo, he made sure to shift his top to the side so it was visible to the viewers. He eventually did a tattoo reveal video and promised that he would be going back there to get another one.
You guys, my new tattoo, I love it. Here's the good news. I'm going back today to get one more.
He actually meant it when he said that. He went back and got another tattoo on his hand. Big Ed still wasn't getting as much relevance, and in some videos he had to introduce himself more properly before giving advice on how to own a dog.
You guys might know me, I'm Big Ed. I play that villain on TV.
The fact that he now refers to his reality shows like some kind of movie where he played the bad guy is really funny. Big Ed was still advertising his Cameo videos, even sharing his reviews to convince people. And one time, he went to the streets selling Polaroid selfies for $2. That was how desperate he had become. But if you are thinking that his Cameo videos would be cheap, you are completely wrong. Do you really think $53 is worth a Cameo shoutout from Big Ed?
Hey, it's Big Ed here. What are you doing? Let's wish somebody a happy birthday, okay?
He continued with this until he got a strange idea, probably from the devil himself. Big Ed announced to his fans that he would be going on a vacation, but this time with his fans.
Who would like to spend an entire week with Big Ed in, we can go to Japan, we can go to Greece, we can go to Bali.
While Big Ed was very optimistic about this amazing upcoming vacation, most of the responses he got on the video were not very encouraging. Despite the negativity, Big Ed did not want to stop and refused to give up. In a subsequent video, he continued promoting the plan and eventually decided where they would be going for the vacation. Big Ed went on, in subsequent videos, to announce that payments were now being accepted for the trip to Thailand. Big Ed even promised a promo for the first set of people who paid for the trip.
Here is what's really exciting. The first 8 people that sign up, okay, to take the trip, you get a discount. You're going to save money.
Which means that at this point, either no one had paid for it, or at most, only 8 people had. Despite telling his fans to ask questions about it in the comments,
leave your questions in the comments below, and on my next live feed,
they left more dissatisfied responses. Instead of reading the room and giving up, Big Ed continued. When the applications were not coming in, he thought about making it easier for his fans and offered a payment plan. Big Ed was offering a 6 to 12 month payment plan for those interested in the trip, a trip that had no confirmed date and whose total cost was still unknown to the public.
You can make payments over time. It's not even that much money, but You can make payments over time if that's easier for you.
One thing most people might not have noticed was the caption of the video. It read, "We are going to Thailand together. No, I'm not looking for a new wife." What does going to Thailand with his fans have to do with finding a new wife? Maybe this was his way of hinting to young, vulnerable ladies that this could be their chance to get close to him. This was the last time he said anything about the trip to Thailand, but he continued with his desperate ads for Cameo. Big Ed even reduced the price from around $53 to $57, down to $50 for a few days, probably to get more orders.
A 3-day price drop to $50. Get your Cameo now before it's too late. I'm going crazy.
Recently, Big Ed eventually went back home and decided it was time to represent his father's legacy by venturing into real estate.
And I'm here. I'm in real estate. I want to sell houses.
In the weeks and months that followed, Big Ed focused more on his real estate business. Maybe that would be his way out of the hassle of financial issues. Who knows?